All right, what was our equation for cosine? Or actually, first, what can we rewrite cosine 105 degrees as? Could we rewrite it as cosine 60 plus 45? Or 45 plus 60, that order doesn't matter. Okay? So cosine 60 plus 45, how does that break down? What is cosine A plus B? Minus, that's always good. Because cosine is the opposite sign. So what do we have to do to fill this in? What do you need to know? Do you need to know some triangles? Maybe a 30, 60, 90. And a 45, 45, 90. I'm going to write 45 in the square root because it was not correct. Triangles are very important. So what is cosine of 60? 1/2. What about cosine of 45? What about sine 60? And then sine 45. It has to be the same as cosine 45. Pretty sure they're co-functions. So when we multiply fractions together, what do we get? 1/2 times the square root of 2 over 2. Square root of 3 over 2 times the square root of 2 over 2 is the square root of 6 over 4. What are we left with? We all recognize we cannot combine those. Square root of 2 minus the square root of 6, all divided by 4. We're all happy. They look very similar to everything that we've done. All right, so we did this last week, maybe even the week before. I don't remember. So what about what's new today? Actually, we're not going to do tangent today. But we are going to use this a little bit more. What if I tell you what sine of something is? Sine A equals 3/5. And cosine B equals negative 12/13. Can you find, oh wait, you need to know something else, I will forget. A and B are both in quadrant, oh that's not a complete sentence, are in quadrant 2. I need you to find cosine A plus B. Now let's think about what's the equation for cosine A plus B? Cosine A, cosine B, minus. Now, what pieces do you have?
I think I know how to do it. You have A and B.
You have sine A, and you have cosine B. You have those two pieces. You only have 2. You need 4. Okay? Is there a way to find cosine A? If you know sine A, can you find cosine A? If you know sine, can you find cosine? What? Yes.
It should be the same.
Well, no. You can find it. No, sine and cosine will not be the same. have an opposite over hypotenuse. There's multiple ways to go about finding cosine A. You could plug it into a Pythagorean identity. Sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. Okay, you could do that. This is the point where you get to choose. Not like the first section where you had to do it that way. You get to choose. Do you want to draw a triangle? Where the opposite over hypotenuse is 3 over 4. I mean, personally, I think that's the easiest way. So if this is A, the opposite is 3, the hypotenuse is 4, what's this side? See, it's a 4. It's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So what is cosine A? 4 over 5. So could we plug that in right there? Now, what's the last thing that we're looking for? Sine B. So you have cosine B. Can we find sine B? Am I going to do what? How am I going to find sine B if I have cosine? Could I draw another triangle? Do you want to plug it into the sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1? Yes, ma'am. Is cosine AB negative? I don't know. What do we know? What have I not even asked the question? They're both in the second quadrant, so should that be a negative? Yes, don't forget negative signs. Yes. Yeah, put it in a triangle. Yeah. Most definitely. If this is B, my adjacent is 12, my hypotenuse is 13. What's the opposite? 5. So what is sine B? Should we think it's in quadrant 2? I didn't ask that question earlier. So now, do we have all 4 pieces to put in our equation? That we do. So here we go. We're going to plug them in. What is cosine A? Negative 4 over 5. What's cosine B? Negative 12 over 13. What's sine A? And then what's sine B? Okay. Now, I would say the hardest part is recognizing what do you have to find and finding it. Once you have it all, plugging it in should be the easy part and just doing the math. Okay? So, what are we going to get? So what's 4 times 12? Negative times a negative. Positive. 5 times 13. This is 65. Minus. Now the question is, am I going to reduce the 5 and the 5? On most every occasion I will. Why would I not do it now? I need common denominators anyway. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 13 is 65. So what's 48 65ths minus 15 65ths? 33. Sorry. I'm saying 32. I'm pretty sure. Oh wait, will it reduce? Why? Should we check? 6 plus 5 is 11. I'm pretty sure 3 is not going into the 11. Yes? So what is cosine A plus B? 33 65ths. And we are done. Okay? Should we do another one? Yes. Yes, we should. Alright. If cosine, and sometimes they use different letters than A and B. Is that going to bother you? Good, because then I will make it happen even more. Cosine S equals 15/17. And sine T equals -24/25. S and T are in quadrant 4. S. I need you to find cosine. S minus T.
Can we write cosine sine
I did not hear what you said.
Can we switch out the S and T for A and B on my paper?
That's whatever you want to do. What? You guys work for just a minute. In my head, I've got what sine and cosine are, but it's not. Well, technically it is. It's the fractions that top and bottom are both big.
Yeah. I think I got the right answer.
All right. So somebody want to tell me what you did first? What was the first step that you did other than changing the S and the T to A and B?
I wrote down the equation.
You wrote down the equation. That is an amazing first step to do. So what is your equation that you want to find?
Cosine S cosine T plus sine S sine T.
say plus? And just so you know, Dr. Mark.
That means we don't have a leak.
If he's not back by Wednesday, we do what we did last week. And Mr. Sheets wasn't back by Wednesday. Shut it out. Shut it down.
Really?
I know. I don't know. But the funny emails that went back and forth about, we didn't want Mr. Sheets to get any farther behind in his schoolwork, and it came up like the teachers. There was. You talk about teachers. There's still some teachers out sick today too.
Well, everybody that people that didn't even go here were like, y'all don't have any subs. I'm like, I haven't had any subs. Like, we
It
didn't
was
have
a lot of
subs.
numbers.
You know what I'm saying?
Alright, so sine S. Did you have to find the third side of this triangle? Yes. Whether you drew it or not, if this is S, this is 15, that's 17, what's the opposite side? 8. So what is sine S? Oh, you're already thinking about the quadrant. Okay, negative 8 17. Yes. Bless you. Next triangle. With S. No, it's not S, it's a T. And the opposite is 24, and the hypotenuse is 25. So what's the other side length? 7. So cosine T is 7 over 25. Alright, so let's start plugging in. So cosine S minus T. What's cosine S? 15 over 17 cosine T. 7 over 25 plus, now what's sine S? Negative 8 over 17 and sine T. And one way to check is having different denominators. Bless you. Different denominators. Where when we multiply, we have a common denominator.
Well, you have to have the same denominator when you multiply. You have the same numbers.
Yes, but that's not always going to be the case. But it works. When we have cosine, they have to have the different denominators. Sine, they have the different denominators. So what's 15 times 7?
When we do the other equations, they're not going to have the same cosine.
105 over what? 425 plus negative times a negative is going to be a positive, so it's going to be a positive sign. So 8 times 24 is, was it 292, did you say? 192. What's it going to be? Okay, 17, we have the same. So 105 plus 192 is 200 and what? 297. 420. Yeah. Negative and positive signs. We feel okay. No. Another one? Can I give you a sign one?
No.
Why?
All the different equations. Because that would mean different denominators. And I don't want to solve for that. John's not here. He can't do it.
I'm recording. I'll send it to John too. I did.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Remember to email it though?
I wrote a post-it note.
I didn't know if you were supposed to.
Post-it note is burned.
No, I I pay attention to my post-it notes.
Did you take the test?
I did.
Can you do it again just to make sure?
No.
Are you recording for me?
Can you record for me?
Do you mean to send you this lesson again?
Miss Evans,
I
how
think
was
I was-
basketball back in the day? Was it fun?
Okay, if sine A equals, now what happened? I'm not gonna even say it. How mean do you want me to be to you?
Nice.
Very nice.
I'm already dying.
Oh. Oh. We'll be nice then.
For real.
No, I was here on this day. We got on our notes. I should have been 20.
Yes.
Yeah. I was weird.
I'm gonna do what they do in the book.
Ew.
Oh, Miss Evans.
Oh.
Is that Greek?
What?
Oh, hey. Everybody, it means A is in quadrant 2.
Thank you for interpreting that for everyone.
You're welcome.
But I just need you to know, okay? I just need you to know that they might write it differently. How are you going to interpret it?
Question
Wait, what are we trying to
What are we trying to find? Find each of the following. Ooh. Find sine A plus B. Oh. I will stop there. They asked for more, but I will.
Goodness gracious.
I'm running out of paper.
I have more paper. I'll give you.
I have like a whole stack.
Do you want graph paper? Line paper is what I don't have a lot of.
Well, I'll just remember to transfer some over. I won't forget it last week.
I haven't had graph paper in like months. Years. No,
Don't
that's
care.
not really good.
I don't
Guess
think
what?
I
Still don't care.
They use an identity. They use a Pythagorean identity. Really, this is 5.3 and 5.4. 5.3 only dealt with cosine. 5.4 is sine and tangent. Just so you know. And then we'll just do one more thing and we'll be done with this chapter.
I just did the A
So what? Walk me through your thought process.
Wait.
Okay, sorry.
I think both sides end up being probably. I mean, the odds are that there's probably a negative number in there somewhere.
It-
I think it's Roman.
Does it look really bad?
Well, I want to.
Okay, let's walk through the thought process. What is one thing, I just want to know one small thing that you thought of when you were starting this problem? Just a second. I'm just helping you. What? What? I'm going to call. I said, wait, I'm going to call on somebody. Taylor, what's one thing you thought of to do?
Write down the equation.
Write down the equation. What equation did you write down?
Sine A times cosine B plus cosine A times sine B.
I think that's what you said. Okay. What's another thing you thought of? Emma, what's something else you thought of?
I realized that I was missing two.
Okay, you realized you were missing two. Could you find them? Which two were you missing?
This ends up being
Sine B
Sine B and
and cosine A.
cosine A. Okay. Susie, what are you going to do to find those two missing things? Triangles. So if you have an A triangle, sine A opposite over hypotenuse is 4 over 5. What is the third side? 3. So what's cosine A? 3 over 5. Does it matter? Do we want to think about what quadrant A is in? Maybe that's another beginning of your thought process. What in the world does this over here mean?
It tells you the quadrant.
Means A is in quadrant. Okay. Do we want to go ahead and think about the next one as we're doing B? What does this mean? Between pi and 3 pi over 2. B is in quadrant 3. Okay. So now sine B, if we're drawing a triangle for sine B, we know the adjacent is 5. The hypotenuse is 13. What's the opposite?
12. That was in the problem earlier.
Yeah, I think both of these have been in problems because they're nice Pythagorean triples. So what is sine B? Okay, I did not hear. Zach, what is sine B?
Isn't that 12 over 13? That's a big negative.
There will be a negative 12 over 13. So do we have everything to plug into our equation?
Yeah.
Yes, let's plug it in. What's sine A? 4 over 5. Cosine B?
5 over 13.
And then what?
Cosine A also be negative.
Oh, should cosine A be negative? Because we're in quadrant 2.
Good.
When we did this, we didn't go back and put it in there. We just wrote it over there.
You did it wrong.
But then sine B, what is sine B? Then cosine A. Look, we still ended with opposite, with the same
I don't know how that works.
denominators. Imagine that. Sometimes they'll fix themselves and sometimes they won't. Okay, so 4/5 times negative 5/13 is what? Negative 20 over 65 plus negative times a negative is positive. I'm pretty sure that's 36 over 65. So negative 20 plus 36 is a what? 16/65. Could we simply do cosine A plus B? So sometimes I'm going to give you one and then ask for a few things. Could you do that? I mean, you've already found all the pieces. Technically, we could do it. Oh my gosh. So, without having to make up new things, what is cosine A plus B? It is skate night tonight.
Are we supposed to have like white?
Yeah, no homework.
No, that is absolutely not the case for high
That's
school.
never the case.
The only reason it's a thing in lower school is because I still have to help a third grader with homework. And if I have to take them to family night, I can't help. But you all have a study hall throughout the day, so that is not study hall, and you don't need your parents' help. How many people go ask their parents for Trig help?
Well, don't you want to
Trig.
I have my mom edit my papers.
Well, that's probably smart. My child still comes to me for math help on occasion. But
She my mom edit.
I know that Caitlin would know it.
She probably would.
You have to have that over.
alright, so cosine A plus B, should we start with the same spot we started last time? Which was what?
Oh, right down the.
So cosine A plus B is what?
I don't either.
Do it on the side, going up and outside.
I
on the
use
top.
that too.
Aw. You still have the margin with the pink on the other side of the pink line.
Miss Evans, there's mine. So
It can't be that bad. Coast B. Remembering these formulas is huge.
Ugh.
Sixth grade has a sub today. Definitely Gary.
Can we go play with him?
I understand that that's a great spot, and I've done it, but it's so distracting.
Yes, it is.
To all those loaded.
Yeah, we should just go out there.
No,
Because we're too distracted. to
no.
focus.
You didn't even know they were out there until I said it. They distracted me.
I would have heard them. They're being loud.
They are loud.
One of them just kicked his shoe off.
What a genius.
How is it?
He does not know how to tie a shoe.
Only a few girls.
Alright, so cosine A. Do we have all the information? Cosine A. Negative 3/5. Cosine B. Sine A. And sine B. We are using the exact same number, so we don't have to go find out anything else. Everything is given to us. But now I can scroll down because now I don't need the stuff at the top. So negative 3/5 times negative 5/13. (15/65) minus 4/5 times negative 12/13. Negative 48/65. When you're subtracting a negative, what happens? Opposite. So we have what? 60. 63/65. Now, in the next, we still have 10 minutes left. Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Oh,
5 minutes.
yes. No.
It's 5 and 13. What? 5 and 3. 2.
7. It's rounded.
Okay. What do you know about tangent?
Nothing.
Okay, we'll look about your plate then. I will teach you all these all over again.
Tangent equals. Oh, no.
Sine over
Oh.
cosine.
Tangent equals what?
Oh, we're gonna have to find the
Theta
both, aren't
over
we?
cosine.
Let's have them
Okay,
please.
we missed 2 days of school. We have
I
to do
can't do
that.
this today.
Yes, you can.
So is this like
John's not here. Ava's not here.
It's okay.
Carson's not here.
Carson's
He'll
not
be
here.
back.
Oh yeah.
He went to the restroom.
Okay, so if you know the basic facts about tangent, if you know the basic facts about tangent, we'll stand here because he did not leave the door open.
Hi,
Uh-huh.
Can I also have a piece of
Sure, you put the last piece of line paper that I have.
Yay. I can figure out.
Therefore,
Oh, you still have that whole piece of paper to write stuff down on.
I can crumble up this paper so
No.
fast.
Do you know how angry that would make me?
Where'd
Alright.
you get your bow from? It was
There was no story. Miss Mackin gave it to me. And
I feel like that's the kind of thing you would find a good one.
You get money for it.
Google is great.
So if I wanted to say, what is tangent A plus B?
Miss Evans.
Why did you not go earlier?
I didn't have to go earlier.
You can wait 5 minutes.
I can't. That's 10 minutes, Miss Evans.
We're out of time after. I think, yeah. Alright, so you can do this for homework all by yourself.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, so tan A plus B is going to equal what? Sine over cosine. Sine A plus B over cosine A plus B. We are deriving this, so we are writing it down.
We wrote it on our plate.
No. So what do you know about sine A plus B?
Oh my god.
Sine
That's
a lot of words.
So sine A plus B, you have formulas. We've just used these formulas. It is what?
Sine A cos B plus sine B cos
Okay, that's all your numerator. What about your denominator? We're just writing the formulas we know. Cosine A, cosine B, minus. All right. Now, from this point, it kind of looks like, okay, I'll just put one in for the other, right? But could we rewrite it? Could we change something so that it's nice or nicer than having to write out all of this? Could we cancel something out? Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to make you come up with it on your own. I want to reduce everything by cosine A, cosine B. Meaning I'm going to multiply everything by that. Should have left myself a little bit more room on the right. It always happens. I look at this and go, hey, I had all that room. And then I switch everything out on the side. So if no, stop. I want to multiply by 1 over. Because I want to reduce it. Can I do that? That's going to reduce. I don't want it to be squared. Stop. I want to multiply by 1 over. So I'm going to divide everything. See, once I do it, I'm like, oh, wait. That doesn't do what I want it to do. I want to divide everything. So if I have sine A cosine B divided by cosine A cosine B, plus sine B cosine A divided by cosine A cosine B. Okay, I just distributed that, divided. I'm going to divide really every piece, which is multiplying by something. What about my denominator? Cosine A cosine B divided by cosine A cosine B. Sine A sine B divided by cosine A cosine B. This is one time we will do this. Now, let's start looking at what can reduce in each piece. So in this first piece, what can reduce? Cosine B divided by cosine B is what? You shut the door on purpose. So what does sine A over cosine A turn into? Sine over cosine is what? So is this really tangent A times 1? So let's finish reducing. Here, what about cosine A over cosine A? What about cosine A cosine B over cosine A cosine B? Is it just 1? What about the last one? Oh, does anything cancel? But what do you know about this? Tan A, tan B. All right. You may go. We will use. Oh.
Do it yourself.